Welcome to another episode of Money for Nothing, the podcast about music and capitalism. Happy New Year, everyone. 2026 is upon us. And Sam and I are going to do what
it's going
most
great.
people...
It's going great so far.
Wait, what's the number one song right now? What do we ring in the new year with? I feel like we're the only people, only like music, scare quotes, journalists who like care about what's number one on the charts anymore.
Well, we're the only music journalists because everyone else is
fired.
Yeah, it's been fired, and it's because it's
for
kind of
Kristen
we're
Robinson.
invulnerable.
She's still kicking it.
It's still the fate of Ophelia, which is a terrible.
Damn.
This
It's been a number one for 13 weeks. What the hell? Okay, I don't even know what the hell is number two. Hunter / X EJ Audrey Nuna Ray Ami. What?
No, that's from it's K-pop. It's K-pop based on an anime.
All right. Okay, we got a little Alex Warren on there.
That song sucks.
We got Choosing Texas by Ella Langley, which I think once again continues country's strong presence.
None of this is good.
Yeah, Leon Tonic. Yeah. This somber. We're okay. Somber with no E. We're still fucking doing that. We're still doing that.
Yeah, dude.
We're still doing the no E.
No, we're anti-E's. Whoa, Kehlani at number 6.
There's hope in the world. Okay, but anyways,
yeah, we have
Sam and I are going to do what most people do before the new year, but in typical late Money for Nothing fashion, we're going to do like what we're looking forward to, or not. We're going to be paying attention to, maybe a little prediction, and then also maybe a little discussion around like 2025. What were like kind of the stories that really kind of got our attention, and maybe we're interested in how they're going to be developing in the new year as well. So yeah, it's going to be a little freewheeling as we do every now and then.
Yeah, what's been did and what's been hid, to quote the great undervalued
what's
Donovan.
been did and what's been hid, exactly. So yeah, you kick it off. Tell me something about 2025, dude.
So I was thinking about the year and looking at people's like year-end social media posty things, and just like, that kind of funny like you're avoiding your in-laws or loved ones during the holidays internet usage, which is like its own category of internet usage, where you're like, I love you so much and I miss you all year long, but also I need a break from you like right now, and I'm just desperately scrolling.
Yeah.
And
this would be happening in what my friends call international water time, which is the time between Christmas and New Year's.
Yeah.
Where like anything goes.
Yeah, totally. So thinking back and kind of looking at people's stuff, the story I think had surprising legs for me this year was people getting off Spotify, actually.
Yeah, cool. All right, yeah, hit me with it. So
we've heard Spotify bad. Gosh knows, Saxon, we've said Spotify bad. But despite the fact that everyone kind of knows that Spotify is up to no good, there hasn't really, and there's been artist campaigns, and there's been pressure campaigns, and there's been the Musicians Alliance. There's been a lot of pushback on Spotify. But somehow, I don't know if this is post 2024 election stuff, or it's not. I'm not quite sure what made it click, but it does seem that this year, both people and bands are actually getting off Spotify and moving to other platforms. And I do think that this is an interesting moment for it to be happening, and I think it might have like some real repercussions. For one, I do think that this is the kind of thing where like there's some network effect here, right? on both sides of the aisle, so to speak. Like, I think that on one side, for people, right? And people have said they're going to get off Spotify before, but like seeing peers do it and just be fine with it, and figure it out, and then like seeing people like post on like Instagram or whatever about like their process of changing over and how it wasn't that bad and they rediscovered this, and people, just the people who can't stop posting about this stuff. A lot of the people who can't stop posted about this, and I do feel like that creates a changed permission structure where people are like, oh, maybe I should do that too, actually, and like goes from something that you should do to something that people you kind of know are actually doing. And so that does alter things. And then on the artist side, I think that we've seen moments previously of like various artists pulling their stuff off of the big bad green.
The big bad green.
Yeah, the big bad green. But usually it'd be this kind of like one-sided Neil Young versus the world, like tilting at windmills thing, and there'd be a big fuss and someone would pull their stuff off Spotify and then eventually they'd give up and come back, right? But I think that because more people are doing it, that gives more cover to the bands. And then once there's real differences between what kind of music is on the platforms, I actually think that the functionality here is so similar that a couple of big bands can actually make a big difference. Like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard being off Spotify, actually, I think there's a segment of people who were Spotify users and probably switched because they're like, I want to listen to the Giz. I can't listen to the Giz on Spotify anymore. I should switch to Apple Music because then I can listen to my favorite band and all the 4-hour long. Like, I wish I liked them. Like, they did this thing where they would play. They worked with an orchestra and performed like their greatest hits with an orchestra, and then that night did a pop up for every orchestra thing. Would do a like zero announcement pop up, all electronic, like prog electronic factory rave of the same concert in the city that they were doing it in. And you would be like, that would be neat if I liked a single lick of this music.
Yeah, right. But you're saying like, so you're saying like, yeah. So if you're saying like a bigger band, like what, like or a bigger artist decided to like pull their music from Spotify, it would like,
or you
really
start getting, or people start doing it, and then it's the kind of thing that tilts it. I mean, Spotify's actively, trying to differentiate themselves. Like the audiobooks thing is big for some people, but I think it could actually, you could get a class of people, and this, where social pressures are social pressures, where like, oh, it's actually not cool to be using Spotify, and that could actually. But to be clear,
like it's like, but to be clear, what you're saying, you're not saying that like people are getting off streaming.
No. People are getting off Spotify.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those things. Like, would you like maybe even like relate it a little bit to the like Facebook when everybody that was like under the age of 40 at the moment, like what I don't know, like in 2013, 14 maybe, was like, this like platform sucks and is like kind of a mess, and then kind of migrated over to Instagram,
which so much better,
and then got bought out. Which got back then it was maybe, but like which got like. Hey man, these are the heady days when like, we were all in the dark and in the about data extraction. All right, can you calm down? We were just posting photos, dude. But yeah, like I know. Then Meta took it over, and now it's also just a fucking mess. Now it like I don't know if you're like not really a big like Instagram user, but people are like. I know like message me on there, and like now they're doing this thing where it's like when somebody messages me, it asks me if I want to like create an image from the message in AI, like built into my messaging. And I'm like, why would I want to do that? Like, what the fuck? Like, yeah, it's totally just an experimental platform for like Mark to like work things out. But of his like, dystopic vision. But yeah, I mean, would you, Yeah, so I don't know. Is it kind of like a Facebook thing where it's like, I mean, like why do you think that people are actually like migrating off of it? Because as we've covered in like previous episodes, there is like no good moral, ethical alternative to streaming.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that the weapons thing pissed people off. I think the sense
Right.
that like Daniel Ek is not just doing bad.
Well, he's gone now.
Yeah, but he still owns a lot of stock. I think the sense that like Spotify is not just like bad for music, but the people are getting rich and doing bad for the world. I don't know. I don't think it was like a clearly thought through agenda, and that's what actually makes it realer. I don't think that this is all that like obvious flag.
People are just
annoyed and they've had enough, and like they're able to switch. And I really would like, and we've talked about this. And maybe I'll like will this into the world, is that I would like in the next month or two to do a like an episode like looking at some of the alternatives, in particular Tidal, which is a funny company with a really funny history. Remember they got like all those artists to like line up and pledge allegiance? It was weird like it was Jay-Z. It was like the height of like Obama era tech optimism. It's a weird moment when Tidal launched, and it would be fun to like look back at that history. But it's owned by Stripe, I think. Like it's weird. It's a weird company.
Which is whose CEO is Jack
Yeah.
Dorsey.
Um
Yeah.
So yeah, but I do think it's just like it's like a feeling in the air that actually like the inchoateness of the reasoning behind why people are leaving for me actually I think that's a stronger indication that it's caught some like structure of feeling rather than it being like I'm not like shopping at this store this week.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting you say that because I don't know. Like, I mean, just a brief like Google of like the numbers. It doesn't look like the subscribers are really like falling off in any kind of great numbers. If any, and I was thinking the other day as someone who works like and has worked in like the service industry, it is interesting how like every restaurant and bar like has a Spotify like pulled up, and like that's how they play music now. It feels like really ubiquitous to me. Now it doesn't seem like there can't be like a sea change in that where like everybody moves over to Tidal or like some other like streaming service. But I'd be curious to see like what happens. I mean, it does feel like for like the last like decade, we've just been watching like Spotify like make a lot of promises, fulfill some of them, switch, rename themselves. Like, I mean, it's just constantly
pivot to video
like shifting
so many
and always
times.
a mess.
We're on the third pivot to video, I think.
Yeah, it's just I mean, it's just like such a fucking mess of a company, and I mean, I do think that like maybe me mentioning the sort of like Facebook aspect of it, like maybe is also like another possibility in the sense that it's just kind of like people are kind of tired of like it like constantly shifting and like creating new like features. Like, you can like DJ your playlist now, and like they have different kinds of transitions and stuff like that.
I think
It's
no
like,
one
wants
cared
this.
about their Wrapped this year. This was the least. At least, again, this is totally anecdotal, but I feel like in past years, people have been very excited about the dedication of their Wrapped, and I feel like no one cared this year. It was kind of a thud.
Yeah.
And I think that like is also an indication. Again, I don't think that this is going to be a general overall shift, but I do think that the people I know who are switching tend to have a fair bit of like institutional like they're very like upper middle class bourgeois folks, and I do think that like in American society, in terms of like who creates the norms of polite society in the US, I think those people, their opinions are, to use like pure podcaster jargon, over-indexed. No, I think those are the people whose like opinions people tend to like. New York Times writers, like though, like that segment of like upper middle class intelligentsia, and so I do think that that's a meaningful change, even if you just lose those people. that's meaningful.
Okay. Interesting. Okay.
So how about you?
For me, I feel like just like the like continual rise in ticket prices was like and then this is like a really long thread I can like suture together here. So like ticket prices being like pretty insane. Like I think I went to maybe like 2 shows this year because I'm not really on the list anymore. I don't work for Red Bull Music Academy anymore or whatever. I'm not really writing about music. I mean, I guess maybe I could try to get on the list for Money for Nothing, but that seems like a stretch. And yeah, just like, and then of course also all the fees and everything. But that also ties into another thing that's really interesting, which is like this ongoing lawsuit brought by the FTC against like Live Nation and Ticketmaster. And so like, and a lot of people saying that like, oh, like under the Trump like Vance administration, like this will probably like be let up, but actually so far it like hasn't let up, which I think is interesting. And even like the head of the FTC, I mean, not that these quotes really matter, but says that the Trump Vance FTC is working hard to ensure that fans have a shot at buying fair price tickets. And today's lawsuit is a monumental step in that direction. I know, so those are the connections there. And then also like kind of thinking about also, and not to like get too ahead of myself here, but also thinking about when talking about ticket pricing, thinking about how the majors have continued to expand into various different realms of profit making. And, if I'm looking into a crystal ball and a Ticketmaster Live Nation gets broken up, I kind of see the majors moving into those spaces and being like, oh, we can get into the ticketing game or so I don't know. I think it's like an interesting, I'd like to see what happens. I mean, maybe in the end, the lawsuit doesn't go anywhere and it's a slap on the wrist and we continue to live under the control of Live Nation and Ticketmaster and paying exorbitant prices for a very average show. But I don't know. I think that there's like a lot of different like moving parts here that's pretty interesting. Weirdly enough, also like Coachella sold out right away again. So maybe I don't know what that means.
I thought it had trouble.
No, it did. It like no, this year it's already on like boom, like already sold out or something.
Do they have a good lineup? Is that what happened?
It's like Bieber and stuff like that.
Well,
so I don't know. Yeah. So,
but it's all being purchased by like pay as you like everyone.
Oh yeah, by like Klarno, whatever it's called.
Yeah. No, pay as you go. Like,
oh, I'm sure.
Which is this whole other.
I found that like perplexing. Where I'm like, wow, like no one has money to spend, but then like this got. And like ticket prices are like surging, but then like this sold out. Like,
what's weird about Klarna?
But I guess if you're going to spend your money on one, but yeah, I mean, if you think about it, if you're going to spend your money on it, like, would you go to like an individual concert in LA, or do you just go to like a 3-day festival where you see every artist you want to see for the year in one fair swoop? So I don't know, maybe it kind of makes more sense. It actually makes more sense financially. Yeah, one fell swoop. Yeah. Sorry, fell swoop. Yeah,
it's not fair. It's a fair swoop. I mean, that's yeah.
No, so I mean, I think there's all those connections there with the ticket pricing. Like what's going to happen with like the lawsuit, like if it does get broken up, and this probably wouldn't happen in 2026, but if it does get broken up, like what's the move by the majors? Like if nothing happens with the lawsuit, our ticket prices going to continue to rise. Does that hurt like the live music the live music industry? I don't know. I think there's a lot of interesting stuff there because I think that speaking of anecdotal evidence, like in New York City again this year, and yeah, a lot of people I know like complaining about ticket prices, like even going to a show and be like, yeah, I saw like, I don't know, Wednesday and I paid like, after fees like $88 and it's like, what the yeah.
That is
like, what the
$35 band.
I mean, yeah. I mean,
they're
like
good,
after,
but they're like
after, yeah. So, yeah, and maybe I'm like that's maybe it's not 88, but like paying like an exorbitant amount of money for like a high tier indie band, but like it's like very confusing.
So okay, so I don't know. That was while I respect the acuity of the point. That is breaking the conceit of the episode. That was 4 things. No, but I think they're all good, and I think it's worthwhile like talking them through one by one.
It's all about ticketing.
A little bit, yeah, ticketing. Guys, it's our I think it's our
Prices.
first time doing this conceit. We we both clearly approached the assignment slightly differently. No, I think it's really good. So for one is like ticket prices. And I think a lot of that for Wednesday, right?
Yeah.
A lot of that's
I pulled that out of my pocket though. I mean, I'm not quite sure that was the price, but like point being like exorbitant prices for bands that you would like not expect.
So I think some of this is that just like everything is expensive. Like touring prices have doubled.
Truly.
Hotel prices, like you can't get really a like you know, the cheapest hotel you used to be able to get was $50. Like for a real like the motel edge of town, $60. It's now close to
nothing's under 100 now.
Nothing's under 100. And even that's like if you're on a long tour, you probably don't like you can be if you're 19, but like if you're Wednesday, if you're a band of like people and you want to be able to do this for the long term, given how exhausting the road is, like you want to be spending like not the worst possible, the cheapest possible lodging, and like rents are more expensive everywhere, right? Like you're based, I think, isn't Wednesday based in Nashville? Like
North Carolina.
The rent's there, right? Like rent's everywhere.
Yeah.
So just like you're on the road and like maybe your air, like all of those prices. And so there has been a whole thing of like either bands need to significantly up their prices or they can't go on the road anymore. And they're also competing for people's money for like, you know, the high end market where labels are really trying to extract money. So it's like, I don't necessarily think there's a total overlap between Wednesday fans and new album's good. New album's pretty good. Sidebar. The Wednesday fans and like, I don't know, pick your big Eagles fans or something. But Coldplay fans, because they're always touring. But I do think that like, how many people who went to go see Wednesday also dropped $200 to see Charlie? There's an overlap.
Possibly.
Right?
Sure.
And I just, you know what I mean? So just like everyone's budgets and everyone's feeling the strain. And so that's, and then the Ticketmaster is this funny thing because like Ticketmaster is both the cause of this, but kind of indirectly. Like,
okay,
you know, I do think that, and this was the go back and listen to, I think, an excellent interview. And by excellent interview, I don't mean like I did a good job, but like I just got facts explained to me for an hour by someone who really understood this. An excellent explanation by the Future of Music Coalition when we had them on the podcast like a year ago or so. Where like I came in and was like, I don't like Ticketmaster. One of their jobs is to be the bad guy. And that is true. Like the fees and stuff, like most of those fees are venue fees. And that's why Dice, you also pay a fee, right? When you have a different
Dice who just got bought out. Yeah.
Sure. If your name is Dice, you're not like
Dice wasn't it like originally Dice FM? I don't know, whatever. Anyways,
this doesn't make any goddamn sense. That makes me furious. Dice FM makes me so angry.
Well, it might have been because I could be wrong, but it also might have been because it might have been something else first. But yeah. No, we've talked about this on the Ticketmaster episode like years ago or whatever. So,
But at the same time, I do think there's been this like long-term nationalization of the touring infrastructure that has made it more oriented the whole industry away from local scenes and towards big touring groups, and that has made it harder to open groups open new places in competition with the Ticketmaster or Live Nation booked places. So I do think that like over a period of decades, now. Like, I think Live Nation has had clearly a deleterious impact on the vitality of the touring ecosystem, plus gentrification. Fix it, Zoran. Plus, you know, all these elements, right? So now we have this kind of like sclerotic touring, at least in America, sclerotic touring ecosystem, with that like both requires and like pushes for higher prices. And I feel like it's a funny way, like in the long term, breaking up Ticketmaster might fix that. In the short term, I don't think it will actually, like, it's not like, and I think a lot of people think this, it's not like the App Store, right? Where just like Ticketmaster's there getting 15% of every ticket purchased. And like, if you just had a third party, a different thing, that 15%, every ticket would be 15% cheaper. Like, that's not how this industry works.
No, yeah, 100%. Yeah, I agree that like in the long term, like Live Nation probably has had like a deleterious like effect on the music industry. But yeah, like just because they get broken up doesn't mean the prices suddenly like drop by like 20% or whatever. But yeah.
So a question for you. In terms of music, in terms of society, like I live on the edges of the world now. And so
you're basically Canadian.
Yeah. I'm tragically hip. So I see actually a lot of bands because there's this of a very funny thing because there's this big stadium in Bangor. I mean, it's like 15,000 cap outside thing. And I can just wait for the day of the show and I'll just buy like $10 tickets
wow.
to like mid-tier to like the Goo Goo Dolls, like $20 all-in day of tickets. I bought them an hour before the show, you know, but like only bands that come anyway. So like I don't really understand the impact of all this, but like from your perspective in a city, like what do you think the impact of just like unattained, really high ticket prices? So like the indie band
this is my wheelhouse, bro. I love talking shit about this. This is not going to be like a like super like in-depth like research like take, but this is my like take, which I've been actually like bitching about like for the last month and a half. So thank you for like teeing me up here. But like essentially it's like okay, first of all, hot take, fuck going to see live music in New York City. Okay, first of all, everything fucking sells out right the fuck away, right? Like it's like everything sells out like months in advance.
Not at TVI.
Right? No, yes, at TVI, unless it's like a Monday through Wednesday show, which is like usually a band I've never heard of or like no one cares. But yeah, like the weekend shows, yes, and for this very reason, and this affects everything from the like hotel lobby aesthetics of City Winery to the down and dirty aesthetics of TVI in Ridgewood. Every show I go to has a contingency of people who are just talking through the entire show because they didn't have anything to do on a Friday and Saturday night, and they were like, let's go to a fucking music show, and they've maybe heard one song or like maybe like somebody told them about it or maybe they even read about it, and it just becomes like this thing to do during the week. And I'm like, so like, okay, cool. So now, so like, let's get this right. So not only is the venue is the show selling out right away, but then like a third of the contingency of those people there don't even give a fuck about who's playing. Awesome. Love this. Now,
I compare that to like bands aren't loud enough. If the band's loud enough, you shouldn't be able to talk through the show.
No, truly. But like, this is a problem that I think I've experienced even like as of years ago, where like I would go to like a okay, like this isn't a musician, but I went to see like John Waters like talk. He does like a Christmas thing like every year, and like, you know, yeah, I mean, love him, amazing, doing like all kinds of like rancid, like
upsetting things,
abject conversations, right? And people were like gasping through it, and I was like, do you know who the fuck you came to see? Like, who the fuck are you people? Like, and I mean, that might have been also a problem because it was at City Winery, which is horrible. Who wants that? Who wants City Winery? But like, but this is like I mean, obviously there's going to be exceptions. Like, I'm sure, like, yeah, a weekday show at TVI or like, Baby's All Right, like things like that. Like, it's going to be a different crowd. People are going to be there for it. You maybe can't even buy a ticket like the day of. But like, if you're seeing a touring band in New York, it's really hard to get a ticket even like a month in advance. And
so what does that do to the culture?
It's going to be more expensive.
Is it true elsewhere?
No, because the thing is like, well, I mean, I always compared it to my years in Atlanta, which was like, this is also like a characteristic of like a smaller urban town, but like, very rarely do you have a day where there's two bands playing on the same night that you want to see, right? It happens in Atlanta, sure, like, but it would rarely happen. And like, so what usually happens is that like you could still get a ticket like the day of, and you show up and 30 people are there because it's the only thing going on in town. And everybody's fucking stoked. That's how I saw, okay, gonna like humble brag here, but that's how I saw Cindy Lee before that album came out in front of 30 people at a small venue in Atlanta.
That's just bragging. There was nothing humble about that.
Okay,
to humble brag,
also, why, like, I'm not gonna pay like $50 to go see Cindy Lee at like Brooklyn, at the Paramount or whatever the hell it's called. So, anyways, that's my gripe. Yeah, it's like, it's actually like kind of like a terrible.
Was it cheap in Atlanta? Cheaper?
Yeah, it was super cheap. I think I saw Cindy Lee for $12.
So
this
the question is
2023.
So the question is this just that New York City is unaffordable, or is this a broader issue?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of a both, right? I think it is becoming a broader issue. I think New York City is particularly unaffordable, but I do think that it's like made worse by the amount of demand. I mean, it's like classic like economics, right? In the sense that like so many people would just like buy a ticket to a show. And also there's probably the resale thing going on as well, like, but it's but this is why like those websites like Oh My Rockness, like they do the announcements of like when tickets go on sale for like bands that like you're like, why, I don't need to know when like, I don't know, like tickets to like MJ Letterman go on sale. But in Brooklyn, like you do actually, because like that will sell out in like 7 hours. like as if he's like Taylor Swift. That's cute.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. That's interesting. And it's interesting also to think about like the ways in which, again, social media and the internetness of all things have like altered the sense of like what you're doing when you go to a show.
Right.
And clearly that's something where like, some of the club scene, right, where they ask you like, do you know any of the DJs? Can you name them right now? Or else
like in Burbank, they'd be like, who's DJing? Right.
No, but like in the basement in New York, right? Like I've been like in a line and been asked and like had to explain that like I did in fact know one of the DJs. I was interested in like their version of techno or whatever. Like, but and that's one way of doing it. Like you could do that at TVI.
Yeah, no, that's true. Yeah. Wait, what are you saying? There's like ways in which you can maybe like safeguard like who comes in.
I mean, you could have a seating policy.
I'm 100% for this. I've mentioned this on the pod before, but there's a bar, like a longtime bar in Berlin called 8mm, and it's like a punk, divey shithole, whatever. And they have bands play like periodically, but even to get in, even if there isn't a band playing and they're just spinning records, they charge you like a euro or two at the door to get in on like a Thursday through Saturday, and like it's so simple. It's like so little money, right? But it like is kind of a deterrent for people who are like just trying to be shitheads and like visit Berlin and get drunk. And also the fact that like you could just take that money and you can give it to the band, or you can give it to the bartenders, or you give it to the DJs, or like whatever. So there's also that as well. I guess that doesn't necessarily maybe relate to like TVI. I'm sure there's always going to be like a door fee for whoever's playing, but I don't know. It's been a long time.
But you could have like a door policy.
Yeah, no, you're totally cool. I mean, I'm all for door policies. I'm actually like, I think even bars should do it. Like I'm being like, I know this is like my most elitist take. I think actually the last 20 minutes of me talking has been like ripe for like pushback and commentary, and like by all means, please like add us if you'd like to. But yeah, like I have pretty strong opinions about this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm like, by all means.
And this is one of the one of the interesting things about like I bet this is true in a number of major areas. It's less true in some other ones, where culture functions differently. And I do think that that's one of like the best things about that America's really big is like there's like those medium tier cities.
Yeah, I mean, I should.
As always, guys, Baltimore, medium tier cities.
No, medium tier cities are sure great. And then also I would just say that like, it's funny because even like I just to continue to talk about this even more, but just briefly, like I experienced this in Long Beach, the fact that like in Long Beach, because it's so far away from, like I was always called Long Beach like the skin tag of Los Angeles because it's like on the very edge, like way down the south. But it should be more loving because I think Long Beach is great. But like they have a number of like smaller venues in Long Beach, and like you could definitely like get a ticket like day of at a lot of these venues. I mean, like I worked at a bar there briefly, and like Os Mutantes played it, like and people were like buying tickets at the door at like day of. So it's like, yeah, it does vary, but like it's like one of like my main gripes about like New York City is that like if you're it's like a form of entertainment for people who maybe aren't fans oftentimes. Anyways, moving on from
the past to the future.
Yeah, what's up with the future? Look into the crystal ball, look into your orb, look into your sphere.
Okay, so this next part, we both have two either predictions or trends for the future. Saxon, do you want to do this one and one, or should I just drop both of them and discuss them, and you'll drop yours? How you want to do this? Well,
you're doing predictions. I'm kind of doing like things to look for because I don't know. There was some sort of miscommunication. So you do predictions, and I'll do things to look for. I mean, I could turn it into a prediction. I could turn them into a prediction. I'll turn mine into a prediction, but go ahead. Yeah, do your two.
Okay. Both of mine? Okay. So, these are not, like, things I think will happen, but these are things I think might happen.
Okay.
For 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Prediction number 1. A replicant rap hit that then gets like a retroactive seal of authenticity. So let me explain what I mean by that. Think about that first Ghostwriter song where it was like in Drake's voice.
Uh-huh.
I think that we are going to have either just voice swapped or this is the prediction, a voice swapped or otherwise potentially just like generative AI track that is hot enough and blows up enough online that it gets like reabsorbed by the artist that it's
aping
purporting to be.
Huh.
So it's like, and they like redo it themselves.
Interesting.
They say that like, look, this was always based on my flow. I'm just doing it. Like the best, if there was a little AI generated Lil Wayne song that just went, and it was an underground hit, and then people are playing it, and then Wayne is just like, yeah, I'm just going to hop on it. I'm just going to hop on and add another verse to the verse of AI me.
Okay, so I like this.
Replicate
I was thinking about maybe I don't have this on my list, but I was thinking about like including this in my future predictions or whatever. But okay, so like just like break down like for a minute for me. Okay, so like it drops essentially illegally. Like they don't get approval from Rain.
Yeah.
So
no approval.
But then my question is, do they then get retroactive like legal approval, or does it just like stay with whoever produced it, and then like Wayne just get in this like theoretical like Wayne hops on his own version of it.
It gets retroactive legal approval. They figure out who this is a huge song. It's getting played on the radio. It's like the startup shit. It's so good that people aren't like, oh, this is funny. People are like, I want to hear that. It's good enough that they figure out who produced it, go to them, and basically say, instead of suing you into a hole in the ground, we're going to pull you in, cut a deal. You're going to get almost no rights, but we're not going to sue you, and now like you're on a major label. right? Like, you did this once, we're gonna make you an artist, blah 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 blah. And then, like, in some ways, maybe Wayne just re-records it with his name, just redoes it. And I pick Wayne because this is the kind of shit that Wayne would do. Like, not
it's
giving
interesting.
a
single
fuck about, like, his artistic legacy. Just being like, it's hot. What do you want? Like, this is great. And then, sorry.
That's all that matters, right? So it's
and
fun.
then the question is, like,
No,
what does this do for rapping legitimacy? Right?
What Pandora's
if you can
box
have
is this?
AI lyrics. Basically, every rapper goes
right. It's interesting that you bring this up because in my scenario, it would be that, like, there would be a number one or like a major hit, and in my scenario, it was also hip hop. I don't know why, but that featured a replicant rapper. So that like Future does I mean, it wouldn't be Future. He's like too depressed to do this, but like it'd be like Future featuring, or like Drake featuring, whatever, name some fake rapping name, and then but that turns out that that's a replicant.
Oh, you mean it's an accident?
No, not as an accident. No. Like, they actually purposely, like, create
Drake
one.
did
right?
that,
and
the
then
Tupac
like that
voice.
gets. But I mean, like, you actually have like an actual like AI star type person. Like, okay, so it's like Drake featuring somebody, right? It hits a hit. Yeah, and then like OVO like drops like a full album like with that replicant like the next year, like later this year or something like that. That was kind of like my scenario. They would be like this whole like, let's test it, and then like we'll see. Yeah. Because my thinking is that a lot of the people that are probably doing these replica things are probably actually trying to get into the inner circle or their foot in the door of the people that they're like replicating. Like, look, I can do this. Like, put me up at your service, right? But you're suggesting the more sort of like the startup like approach where it's like break the law and then deal with it later, like kind of like the way the Spotify and all them did that.
Yeah, and the other thing I think just is like I know there's some, I know people listen to it, but I think that people, minus like a very explicit
right
K-pop or like sorry, not K-pop, anime K-pop, or like a cartoony gorillas thing. I think that people will be okay with that for AI potentially in the near future. I think that like just an AI rapper, I think that'll make people uneasy. You know what I mean? Like, you want a real person, and that's why, for very specifically, it's not a non-existent person. It's an existing.
It's their
person.
AI version of
it's
them.
A hit.
Yeah.
It sounds like Wayne, but it's not.
Yeah, because it still brings to that thing that I've always mentioned, where it's like people, like fans, are like not just interested in the music that like artists are dropping, but also like their personal lives and like seeing them live and things like that. And so yeah, I don't know how much you could actually like do. At least for now, we talked about in the last episode, like in like the far off future, maybe like a sort of Gen Alpha or whatever generations after that, like doesn't care. But like for now, I think people still want like the flesh and blood. Okay, so what's your next future one then?
So if this happens this year, you heard it here first, folks. Okay.
Okay.
I'm pleased with these predictions. Okay, the second prediction for things that might happen in 2026. So American TikTok is supposed to be spun out and purchased by this consortium of Oracle and a couple other companies for fire sale prices. And then there's going to be all this regulatory oversight. And we'll see if this happens. My prediction is that in the course of the lawsuits and the fighting around this, either via discovery or via a leak or via a hack, we're going to get a lot of information about how culturally TikTok has been operating. and we're going to get to see some details about how its algorithms are functioning to shape American culture generally, and given the interest of this show, shape American music culture more specifically.
Just because like the security of like America is like such a fucking joke. Like, did you like read the thing about how like when they dropped the Epstein files, it was like on a Google Drive? And people are like, shouldn't the the U.S. government be like using their own system? Like, why is it on Google Drive?
I think there's gonna be a lot. I think there could be discovery. I think there's gonna be lawsuits. I think there's gonna be congressional oversight. I think there's just gonna be a ton of attention on the inside of this. And I just think that like if ever there was, we did an episode a while back talking again about Spotify, like where some of the I think Spotify's original deal with Sony leaked, like, so that would have been a deal in like what, 2017, 2016, maybe even earlier, leaked in like 2021. We got all this insight into how things went down. I just think that like we know there are those kinds of deals and negotiations behind the scene. There was that moment when all the Universal Songwriter, all the publishing got pulled off TikTok and then went back on, and we never understood what the final deal was. It was like this bizarre, it wasn't even like a nothing burger. It was like a black box battle where like we could see like the clouds of smoke and we could hear the clanging. And then when just like the big black box left, like you saw a field that was all like fucked up and like bloody, but like there were no people and no indication of what happened. Like, who won? No one will ever know, but someone does. There are documents out there, and I just feel that like, you know, Elizabeth Warren, with all the oversight potential of the Senate committee investigating a potential major business deal, like, could get at those documents.
Yeah.
And will be interested.
Yeah.
There's power in trying to do this deal. You're opening yourself up to powers of investigation, I think, that makes the possibility of this information coming to light possible, I guess. And I think it might.
Yeah. No, that's interesting. Yeah, that sounds sound. Yeah, I don't really have it. Like, I think that makes sense. That's one that I'll.
Dude, that's just me pushing it out.
Yeah,
into the
I guess
world.
we'll just.
I don't know what to think about the sale.
Yeah, we'll just wait and see.
God, do I want to know what the deals are? I want it so bad.
Nice.
The secret. Just like if you imagine it, it can happen. Just shh.
Also, if you do have those documents, feel free to leak it to us.
Yeah, no, don't leak it to us. Leak it to a organization that is able to assure your security. But here's the promise: don't leak it to us. We could do like WikiLeaks, please. Like, people who know how to do this. But then I promise you that if you do leak it, Saxon and I will talk about it. I promise. We will talk about it. 100% promise to talk about it. But do not send us the documents.
Sam will read it.
I promise that if you leak it, I will read every single document, and I will explain them all to Saxon via a series of late night text messages. But do not actually send us the documents. We cannot assure you of your security.
Okay, so moving on and trying to wrap this up a little bit. Mine are more cultural.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, you know, like I did the ticket stuff, which, you know, is like, you know, the business side of things. But okay, I'm kind of curious, and this is like something my brother brought up, kind of in a different context, and I think it always gets brought up. I think in my lifetime, it continually gets brought up when a more politically conservative administration comes into office, and the question is just like, will we see popular music get more political ever? like, you know, okay, yeah, we had the Kendrick halftime show at Super Bowl.
That was political, but that was too
complicated. Are we gonna get like a Taylor Swift protest song?
Oh, please don't.
Huh?
Don't put that out in the world. I don't
want. No, but I mean, like, really, like, I mean, is somebody with like clout actually gonna like get out there and be like, I'm gonna like, you know, like maybe we should, you know, I don't know, like talk about, pick any of like the things that are going on, and of course, like, you know, things are always going on, regardless of which political party is in power, that could be written about. But I'm just curious. It just seems like politics is on everybody's mind, like, heavily, and not that there hasn't been, like, you know, the occasional engagement, like not allowing like Trump to use a certain song at like rallies, or, you know, like I said, the Kendrick halftime performance show had some like subtle nods. There was like a rap songs coming out in like 2020 about like, you know, BLM and what was going on there, the protests and stuff. Like, it does happen occasionally, but I'm curious. There seems to always be like this like general conversation and thirst around like, why isn't music political as it used to be, quote unquote. And I mean, we can get into like its ineffectualness or whatever, but like I am just curious, like, if it will get more political at any point, if we're ever going to see, like, I don't know, someone take a kind of hard.
I mean, Jason Aldean, right? Like, country music has been quite political. Just, it's not.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
Like, on the left wing at all.
Yeah, no, that is true. Yeah, it'd be interesting. Yeah, and it seems like that's kind of like the only space where like you really see this more political, music.
Yeah, I think that's right. I mean, if you think about like
or
the
even like
genres.
Sorry, if I can even like or even like a Bruce Springsteen, where it's like not like overtly political, but it's like, you know, like we're talking about like I mean, everything's fucking expensive now. Nobody can afford anything. Everybody's like working 2 jobs. Everybody's getting fired. Everybody's like going back to wage labor. Like, is there any kind of like even just like movement like talking about the current experience of like living in America? It doesn't even have to be an overt like, you know, middle finger to the administration kind of thing. And why isn't there that? Like, you know, it's kind of interesting because, you know, I don't know, it's interesting.
No, that's fair. I mean, like, even like the big, you know, there's been kind of like a mini like quote unquote like return of rock music. A lot of those bands aren't that political.
Or like even the folk stuff, you know, you get like a lot of like, I mean, you know,
I mean, there's you know, there's a lot of like the personal is political. Boy Genius is, that project is among many things like gender and sexuality political, like from the name on down, like centering a set of voices and a set of discourses that often have been on the margins. But it's not particularly like the living wage is very bad, there's a K-shaped economy.
But like, in like I want like a, you know, it's funny. I have like a friend who's like a singer songwriter, and she was like asking me about like she's just I'm trying to like shroud this enough so that, but she was just trying to like figure out like different like she was kind of a little bit of writer's block, and I was like, and she works like 3 jobs, and I was like, write about that. And she was like, I never thought about that. You know, like, I don't know, like,
sure.
Like,
and even I think,
you know, I mean, like, I was listening to like an old Sheryl Crow recently, like at the bar it came on, and I was like, this is even kind of like working class, like some of it. You know?
No. It's she's like, I can't afford the gas to get to the communist.
Yeah. She's day drinking with Billy, who likes to peel his labels from his bottle of Bud.
Yeah, totally. No,
I mean,
it's a good point. And it's true. I mean, there's a ton of like, it's like there's a lot of like personal, but not as much like communal, and almost no, I feel like, and we've talked about this before, like overt reflexive discussion of the forces atomizing us, right? The fact that we're all screens, the fact that we're all phones.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Yeah, it's a good point.
Well, so let me ask you like, so let me ask you just and then we'll put a pin in this, but I am curious, like, you know, like, okay, one thing is like, do you think that that's because like the people that are able to make music now and like put it out into the world and like pursue it as a career just is of a different class than in the past? And then second of all, like, do you think that in some ways, because of this atomized like individual like emphasis that seems to be permeating throughout culture, that it's kind of like taboo, it kind of ruins your quote unquote brand to like talk about how you got to go work at fucking, I don't know, McDonald's afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, I think the second one. I also think just like the modes of interaction, maybe. Again, thinking about like where so much of cultural life happens, which is the internet, right? And the ways that you interact are very it's very one-to-one. You know what I mean? It's like it's a mass, but in some ways it's a it's a little bit at some level like radio, right? Which is like one to many, but like the audience of radio often conceptualize themselves as a mass audience. Whereas like I feel like a lot of online culture, like the Instagram, it's like the whole setup of you looking at a big star's Instagram thing is it's like just at you in your little box. You can press like, you can repost. What do you do on Instagram? I really am not on that platform anymore. You reblog, retumble, whatever you do.
Reshare, no.
Reshare, repost, right?
Yeah.
But so it's very like, and so the sense of a collectivity, it's like very one-to-one. And so I do wonder if some of the art that gets made is impacted by that overall, like the poetics of those kinds of one-to-one interactions. It's sharing what's going on in me, and then you are connecting or imagining with what's going on in me, but it's not what's going on in we, Saxon. No, but I was thinking.
Well, you know, it's interesting. Oh. Yeah. Go ahead.
I was just thinking about this in terms of like my read, as like marginal as it is, on how things have changed in rap, right? Because rap is one place where I think we did an episode on trap like a million years ago, but like there's this argument about trap is that it is very much about economic realities, right? It's like reporting economic realities. It's reporting certain kinds of activity and interaction. But that is like, and that is a reflection. Even that like entrepreneurial, idealized entrepreneurial, like drug dealing part of trap culture and the trap aesthetic, like that is about economics. But I feel like a lot of the rap I listen to now, or when I like scan through the new stuff, when it's not like like boom bap revivalist weirdos, it's like it's very it's post Drake. It's like the sadness of doing stuff, but the stuff isn't like often like discussed in that much detail. But the sadness is this like the individualized flip of the 2012 trap rapper. It's like the emptiness inside, or like the fucking bitches, or like, you know, like all the different things that you do, but it's a very like eye centered and not as much about like the activity out in the world. Would be my read. Again.
Yeah. All great points. Yeah. No, I love that. Yeah. And like we could definitely like, you know, continue to talk about that, but yeah, it's just something I kind of want to put on the radar, because it seems like somebody can make like a, like, if you put on Blink-182's All the Small Things to this day, like people like scream the line about like work sucks. Like they love that.
I know. They love that.
And it's like, you know, it's not like, okay, come on, like it's not really like political or whatever. But I mean, that seems like something that seems like a space in which like is like undercovered in music.
Yeah.
You know, like people, like I have watched in San Diego, gone to a Padres game and seen 60,000 people scream that song, and like the part that gets the most like loud is the work sucks part, because work sucks. Write songs about work sucking. Okay, so moving on.
You think that 2026 songs about work sucking?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So on that note,
Final prediction.
Rock's back. A mid-year report by Luminate suggested that rock was outpacing both Latin and country as the highest growth genre in the U.S. What do you have to say about this? Our guitar is back.
Are they? Gosh. How exciting.
I'm going to predict that we're going to get a rock album that is going to be like the popularity level of like a Morgan Wallen record in 2026.
That's a big record.
I mean, I'm gonna tell you right now, we're not gonna get that, but like that's gonna be my prediction.
But you think, but okay, but here we can temper it.
Yeah.
You think maybe this is more achievable? Like Morgan Wallen took a little while to become Morgan Wallen. Like a group with that starts having the trajectory of a Morgan Wallen.
Right, or like a group that is already in the ecosphere. MJ Lennon, Alex G, I don't know, whoever. Like some of these other bands I've never even heard of. Like
not gonna be those two. I guarantee it.
I wouldn't put MJ Lenderman. You know, he gets the right. He gets in the room with a couple of good songwriters. You never know. But I'm gonna predict that like we're
that's so brutal for his entire career. But I'm just never been in a room with good songwriters before.
I mean, that guy has like one good song. That's what's so funny. Anyways, I mean, it's a good song.
Plays good guitar.
Okay, my heater is like screaming at me, so we're gonna wrap this up. But I'm gonna say that like either like a band is gonna reveal itself as gonna like the beginnings of like a trajectory like a Morgan Wallen in the rock genre, or a current rock band or artist that we are aware of is going to take a huge leap and kind of reveal themselves as like possibly on that trajectory.
Well,
yay or nay?
I mean, it's possible. It's been a while. There's been down. Kind of moving around. Like, I think there's been more. I could see it. I mean, again, like you see, like you know, I don't think the college kids in Maine are like reflective of the nation as a whole, but like certain segments of the nation, I think that these like there could be a big band,
or artists,
for this cohort.
Cool.
Or artist doesn't have to be band.
Crew. Rock crew.
Rock Wu-Tang.
Wait, there was a rock Wu-Tang. It happened in the 70s. It was called no, who the fuck was the band that like
Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young?
It was like Dylan and Petty and like it was called the Traveling Wilburys. Wait, were the Traveling Wilburys? Yeah, run this by Shauna. Were the Traveling Wilburys proto Wu-Tang Clan? Okay, so we'll review these predictions at the end of the year. Entering year 6 of Money for Nothing. God, why are we still? How? What?
God help us.
Please subscribe to us. moneyfornothing.substack.com. We're sending out like a newsletter or 2 a week ish. Yeah. No, 1 a week.
A week? A month. Oh, and again, we said this last time. If on that newsletter, we love doing this. We clearly are willing to do it for free, but now there is an option.
And the more we do it, the more we're becoming the only ones doing it.
Yeah, you can't fire us. But there is an option that allows you to support us financially if the show brings you pleasure or, God help you, insight. Consider subscribing. You won't get anything except some of our back newsletters, but also the pleasure of knowing that like you're helping out Saxon and me,
supporting a couple of music dweebs.
Yeah, just supporting dweebs and support some dweebs.
All right, so to cheaper ticket prices, to AI rappers, to rock music making a comeback. We'll wrap this one up. Happy 2026. We'll be back soon. Music by Bird Language. Thanks again. Bye.